Got some breaking news for you. Federal jury just reached a verdict in Elon Musk's lawsuit against OpenAI and its boss Sam Altman, rejecting Musk's claim against OpenAI. CBS News senior business and tech correspondent Ling is here to break it all down. Ling, I just was on the air this morning in San Francisco telling our viewers that they had started deliberations. This was super fast. So what does this mean for the AI and tech industry?
Well, this was a very fast decision, and what we found here is that this lawsuit has been basically tossed entirely. What we know is that the jury recommended to the judge that it was the case filed by Elon Musk in 2024 was not viable in all claims because the statute of limitations had expired. Elon Musk had filed this lawsuit against Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, and the entire OpenAI team in 2024. And according to the jury, they believe there's a 3-year statute of limitations. And they believe that Elon Musk knew about these complaints prior to 2024 minus 3 years is 2021. And they showed that documentation in court via emails, texts. And this is something that they believe that he waited too long to file, and as a result, the case has been tossed. Now, according to Stephen Mallow, he's one of the top lawyers for Elon Musk, saying in court that he was preserving his right to appeal, but hasn't quite made a decision yet on how we want to proceed. So the question here is about what does this mean for the future of AI and who controls it? For a long time, we've been reporting on how this case would possibly change that balance of power. Say if Sam Altman were to emerge victorious in this, or Elon Musk. Now this case has been tossed. So essentially for the moment, and until we see evidence of an appeal, for example, it's going to remain the same. Nothing is going to change. Elon Musk will remain in control of his attempts at building AI, and Sam Altman will remain in control of OpenAI, and they will continue apace. Nothing will change in terms of the structure of the company when it comes to how it's building your ChatGPT and changing that and innovating on that. So this was a verdict that was unanimous across the board. The jury began deliberating this morning, and this took less than 2 hours for them to decide on. And so in this entire process over the last several weeks, you and I have been observing the texts, the emails, the conversations that have come to light as a result. There's been a lot of reputational damage for both parties here, and now the case tossed, unanimous verdict. We'll see what happens next, but we could very well see an appeal.
Did you see anything in the case, just from somebody who's covered AI so extensively, that could shape the way we look at AI in the future? AI is such a wild west, and it seems like it's almost inventing the plane as it flies in the air, so to speak. Anything come out of that stood out to you?
Yeah, we've been talking to experts across the AI field throughout this trial, and the concern here is the humanity of it. That really is what the central focus was once you got past the nasty things said or the texts and the emails and the communications between these two important, powerful parties, right? The idea is who is in control of what could and already is changing the job market, for example, changing the way our economy is working. That has been the central sort of underlying philosophy of what happens here. And what we see is, Sam Altman being quizzed whether or not he is a truthful person. So there's like a level of distrust that we've seen as these billionaires continue to run and control and build these products that, by the way, both parties here, Musk and Elon, have, companies they're trying to take public sometime this year. There's a money-making proposition here that is very significant. And so when you take that reality, you can see through this trial, there's a question of, okay, what are these guys really doing with the future of our economy and our livelihoods?
And oftentimes these things take shape, sadly, through litigation. The test of its merits. Oftentimes these trials really are about the test of the merits of the case. Elon Musk contended that Sam Altman sort of veered off of the not-for-profit model for AI, and he wanted it to stay not-for-profit, and that's why he was suing. As to the conversation about not-for-profit, do you feel, as you look at this and having covered this, that this strengthened the call for a not-for-profit model, or did it strengthen the more capitalistic way of looking at AI?
I think that's a question the answer to that is based on where you sit. And I think there was a lot of skepticism of Elon Musk making that argument that, he had lost out, he had been lied to because the structure of the company had shifted and changed. And so when you look at this, the public good is at stake. And I think that's what you're getting at in your question, Reed, is what happens when it is about profits in terms of developing AI, because we are living an example already over the past 20 years of social media not being created in the public good, but rather being created for shareholders of these big companies like Meta, for example, of being able to satisfy and deliver profits and be able to deliver, value and grow bigger and bigger and bigger. That same question is now being applied to AI in a sense. And that's what you started to see through the trial, is people realizing, is this a good idea? Asking that question. But as to, does the nonprofit model idea win out here? I think it's really unclear, because this case very much, this unanimous verdict is very much about the statute of limitations. They almost didn't even get to the core argument because of that.
Right. The test of the merits is fascinating. Ling Kent, I've watched all of your coverage on AI. You can go to cbsnews.com, by the way, type in Ling Kent AI. You'll see all of her reporting on AI, including flying on a dragon, I believe, Ling Kent. Thank you so much. It's good to talk to you.
On the now defunct Sora. Yes, that's right.
That's right. And also some pretty big name interviews as well. Ling, thank you so much. So as we sort of digest this breaking news here, let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, you heard off the top of my interview with Ling, I just told local viewers here in the San Francisco Bay Area, look, today jury deliberations start. I did not think we would see this result. So your reaction, first of all, to the fact that this went so fast?
So my reaction, and the control booth heard this, was really unanimous on statute of limitations. And I think that's in part because we were all focused on the really meaty legal issues here. I mean, obviously, huge personalities who were testifying in this case. So much of it was coming down to credibility, and do you believe that there was really a enforceable contract that was made between Musk and Altman? Do we really believe that there was breach of a charitable trust here, that essentially OpenAI stole a charity's money? And all of that has fallen by the wayside because the jury focused in essentially on one question. And they're exactly right. This is the threshold question. Did you bring the case in time? And a unanimous jury said, no, you didn't. Now, Reed, we should note that in this particular case, the jury's finding is advisory, but Judge Rogers has said that she essentially thinks there's a lot of evidence to, I'm paraphrasing here, but to support the jury's finding. So I think that we can assume that she will adopt the jury's decision, but she legally, my understanding is, in this particular case, does not have to. Still, after all of the high-profile testimony, after all of the discussions about, was there really an enforceable contract? What does it mean to have breach of trust in this type of situation? It all comes down to, you didn't file in time.
I know, and we have about 30 seconds left, you and I, in this conversation, but a couple of billionaires with some pretty big legal firepower, did their attorneys not foresee that this statute of limitations issue may have come up? You've got to wonder.
So I think they saw it, but obviously for Musk's team, they were hoping that the jury didn't see it in this particular light. It was a question for the jury. I mean, people were aware of it. But again, obviously for Elon Musk, he was hoping that they wouldn't be, let's say, aware to this extent or view it from this perspective.
Well, and we just want to let our viewers know we are keeping an eye out for response from OpenAI, from Sam Altman, and of course from Elon Musk. Gee, Jess, I don't know where he would go to post a response immediately.
He'll find some small outlet.
I don't know. Maybe he could call it X. Jessica Levinson, always good to talk to you. Once again, breaking news, a verdict coming in the Sam Altman-Elon Musk trial. And it leaves a lot of people doing one of these. What? Dismissed relative to statute of limitations.